Hahrie is a professor of political science and the inaugural director of the Agora Institute at Johns Hopkins University, which is an academic and public forum dedicated to strengthening global democracy. She's also the director of the P3 Lab, which advances research on people's participation in public life. And she's published a wide range of high-impact journal articles, and books.
And so essentially what we do in the paper is we differentiate between two different forms of collective action that we call mobilizing and organizing. And so to kind of give you the intuition behind those different forms of collective action, mobilizing is essentially a form of collective action that is designed to get as many people as possible to turn out for some kind of action. Right. So the strategy for success and the way that it's often measured is by the numbers of people that it's able to engage in actions. That could be anything from, petition signatures, showing up for a protest or a march, turning out for a meeting, making phone calls, any of the things that we invite people to do. Organizing operates from a different philosophy for generating collective action. And so the theory behind organizing is that success or effectiveness comes not just from the volume of people that you're able to engage, but instead through the extent to which you're able to build both a leader-rich and an organizational infrastructure that can sustain action over time, right? And so if I'm just trying to get 1 million people to show up once, then the way in which I would organize that is different than if I'm trying to get 500,000 people to do a thing over over and over and over again over the course of a year. And so organizing kind of focuses more on thinking about longer term campaigns that sequence a series of actions and engagement over time. And because we're trying to get people to do something not just once, but multiple times, that essentially, I think, leads to a different kind of theory of the sort of leadership and infrastructure that you would need to be able to generate that action.
Thank you, Professor. My question is related to real-world impact. It goes like, since your research is rooted in real-life practices, I wonder what kind of impact you hope your distinction between organizing and mobilizing may have on real-world practices.
The distinction between organizing and mobilizing matters primarily because if we can differentiate the ways in which different forms of collective action are the same, then political actors are able to become more strategic and intentional about it, right? So if we don't have the frameworks that help them understand the ways in which, engaging people in high volume, quick activity is different from the ways in which, building a campaign for the long term and what implications that has for structure and accountability and the kind of nature of the invitations that you give of people and stuff like that, then when I'm an organizer and I'm trying to get people involved, I can't make strategic choices about which direction I want to go in, right? And so I think that there's a way in which the framework itself enables a kind of intentionality that we would hope that we would see in people who are generating this kind of work.